That's Jacob Seaman. I'm Kaia where Young Voices Be Heard. Like I said, add us on Facebook, hit us up. If you're ever in Northern Arizona, on the first Thursday of the month, we have youth slams down there, kind of like this. And you're all cordially invited to participate or come and watch, and we would love to see you there. So before I do my last piece, I would just like to thank very warmly Logan and Maya for organizing this for us.
Yeah!
Bringing us out here. And I always have to give a shout out to Christopher Lane, because without him I wouldn't be here. So thank you, Chris. This is our last poem of the night, my last poem of the night. And this poem is about grief, which is different than sadness, because sadness is very common. It's quite healthy to feel sad and even depressed sometimes, but grief is like a whole nother monster. They had to give it 5 stages because you can't even handle that shit all at once. And the first of these stages is denial, because you're so used to this presence being on earth, and it's just like, and it's gone, and you can't believe it. It's denial. Dad didn't cry. Your brother told me you were dead without crying. The shock blast numbly hung in the air. The radio became acutely limp, like you were sitting in the room. It was not my intention to misplace you amongst the sound waves, but I had to turn the radio up in a desperate attempt to drown out the sounds of your screams in the empty places. I had to lock myself away. You were not about to be the kind of awakening that happens during a car crash. You were not the dusty areas of a cold case evidence box. Anger. The stage I've always been afraid to get stuck in. It is stitched so deep it feels like the fabric of my body should be tearing, my broken needle fingers grabbing at the rawness of my own throat. I inherited your tendency towards driving with the windows up and just yelling. How do you think it feels to pick up your pieces? These shards of glass you let cut deep, I do not think I can clean them up with the feebleness of my own 2 hands. You should be the first to know that death is only easy for the person dying. Your family are not the janitors on duty for the misery you left behind. We were the ones that loved you. Remember? I couldn't eat right for months. Did you enjoy starving me from beyond the grave? Was that easy for you? Kneeling at your altar, I wanted to say something to you besides, how could you do this to us? But those 7 words infected me like a rotten mantra until they felt like the only prayer your selfish soul deserved. Until every picture of you looked like a stranger, sickly twisted with my reflection, like an ugly truth holding a mirror, showing me that this permanent cold stare is just a family thing. Bargaining. This is where I juggle your intentions. A broken record sticking on your duality. Can't figure out if you're the antagonist. You painted us up both to look like clowns. With overpronounced frowns bleeding out of blank expressions, you painted us up to look like the kinds of clowns who look sad. You did not lose me on the irony there. Depression. Yeah. I know you had a tough upbringing. Bringing up reflections of fear into your everyday conversation. I know you had shadows of handprints all over your body from being grabbed too roughly and from never taking the time to unlace your fingers with them. It was horrifying. I know. Because during the blurs, my mind has strayed into tiptoeing where you would run. There have been days where I have been too tired to stay awake. There have been nights where my arms have wrapped around my body in a last-ditch effort to just stay warm. I tried to write it into journals and poetry, and all it said was enough, 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 enough. I did not mean to write my history into them, but you did.
Yeah.
You wrote your own history by ending your timeline. It's a nightmare, realizing that you might have passed some of those wasted space tendencies down to me. Acceptance. I want to grow up in every sense of the term. This right here is where I throw down the mop to your cleanup, where I wipe the frown off your circus, where I watch the game and become a firm believer in the comeback. It took losing you amongst the sound waves for me to realize I don't want to die like you did. That's why you did, so I could learn that. I don't want to die like you did. You taught me that. You and Ernest Hemingway. He said the first and final thing you have to do in this world is last in it and not be smashed in it. Well, I lasted through your first 4 tough lessons. This is the 5th. This is where I understand I don't want to die like you did. That's why you did, so I could learn that, so I could confront that ugly truth holding a mirror, look it in the eye and see that this unflinching courage is not a family thing, it's my thing. Hemingway said the real reason for not committing suicide is because you always know how swell life gets again after the hell is over. Well, I can tell you that hell comes back and back and back again, but when it's here, I know swell is right behind it, ready to ride its ass out of here with every ray of sunshine hitting my sunflower body, and I promise to never look away long enough to wilt. Thank you.
Yeah, all the way from Sedona, Arizona, Jacob and Kaia. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to come back with the second and third rounds, which go by really quick because we cut to 5 poets and then we cut to 3 poets. So don't leave right now because the best is yet to come. We'll be out of here by 9:15 probably. But right now we're going to take a 10-minute break, say hello to those poets. I just gave you some of these. If you don't have one of these yet, make sure you get one. We're having a championship, y'all, in a couple weeks. We want you to be there. See you in 10 minutes. Buy some drinks. Tip your barista.